Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm very excited to be doing this review. As of this morning, as of about 11:30, 12 o'clock on October 4th, I guess today is, I have finished Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Well, I finished Crippled God, thus making me finished with Malazan, Book of the Fallen. So, oh my god. It's only been 2-3 hours or so, and I'm just speechless because there were times where I think for most of this book I felt like we were getting all of the answers I've ever wanted, and we were. Thank you, Steve, for that, because I was very lost through much of the series, but Dust of Dreams and this book especially just gave us so many answers that I was just really happy that, like, when I finished the book, I was, like, able to, formulate everything that had happened in the series and be like, oh, that's why this was there. This is why that was there. And I love that. I love that feeling when finishing a series where I can look back and think back to the earlier books and kind of be like, oh, okay, so that's why that was there. Oh, okay. Like, that is such, like, a great feeling for me. It's something I seek often when I'm reading this series, and I think this has been the most satisfying series I've ever read. For the longest time, I talked about how, like, the Cosmere and, like, I don't know, Wheel of Time, and books like that, where I thought, like, oh, this is like my jam. This is exactly what I wanted, out of fantasy. But the longer I sat with the series, I thought, no, this isn't like what I wanted. I wanted something, a lot more human, a lot more like gut punchy. I mean, both of those series obviously have those, but I think Malazan has been the closest to my heart of any fantasy series ever. And I've read a lot of fantasy. I have this whole bookshelf here to my, left that one day I'll show and kind of go through it for a video. But like, I loved this book, reading it, and I ended up reading the last half of it this week, basically doing like 200-page binges every day because I just couldn't stop reading, and I am very happy with where we ended up. There were a lot of characters where I was thinking to myself, like, man, I wish we had a lot more with them. I guess this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't read the book, please know this is probably my favorite book of the series, and obviously you should go read the entire series. Do not give up on it. Do not, take breaks. Honestly, I think the faster you read this, the better it becomes, because you are able to hold on to a lot more details than what I did, which was read every, like, one book a month, basically, over the last year and a half or so, or even one every 2 months. I ended up doing, and I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have probably just read it straight through, but I probably would have burned out. Well, maybe not. I would have not have liked it as much. So, I don't know what I would suggest. Just know that this is a series you need to put a lot of time into, and one that you really need to engage with, because there were a lot of characters from previous novels who in this novel show up and are, the main, drivers of the plot, and I had zero idea who they were. And I realized that some of the storylines that I had not been as invested in, and me just kind of having this thought, like, it doesn't matter if I know, like, every single character, which you don't really need to, but I think you do kind of need to know every single character and how they are kind of pushing the story along, because they all come back at some point throughout the series, and book 10 especially. And for those who are, I'm kind of rambling, for those who, who don't want spoilers, you give them time to leave. But, yeah, this book, like, there was so many characters where I realized just how little I paid attention to. And just to go into spoilers now, I really did not feel anything towards Skull Death, Throat Slitter. I'm just thinking all these different characters, but Skin Tick, I remember liking a lot, and Dead Smell, I really liked a lot too, in that kind of crew of characters. But going to this book, I had zero idea who they were as characters individually. I kind of had them all as like a polycule, and was just kind of treating them as a group. And so when they split off in this book and start doing their own things, I was like, wait a minute, I don't know these characters individually. Fuck. And this is something I really think new readers should not do like I did, because that was a big oversight on my part to not really give everybody 100% attention. There were some POVs I was reading where I would just, glance at the words, and I just did not care. And I realize now that was not the way to go. So to go into spoilers, the stuff I liked in this book most, I really loved the bridge burner stuff. Fiddler, Gessler, Stormy, all of them. I really wish we got more of the various different, older bridge burners. Like we see Whiskey Jack come back as a spirit, and then after Casa kills Fenner, and his blood rains down and turns everyone kind of mortal, basically, and turns the bridge burners into, people instead of just spirits. I love that, but I was really wanting more with that. And that is something I feel like is my main feeling going away from this book, is that I could have gone with 500 more pages easily. I didn't want this to end, and I think with the way that book 9 and book 10 were done, and how it's basically just one big novel, I was really, and I said before, book 9 really felt like it dragged. Book 10 did not drag whatsoever. I was really shocked by that, because I was pretty unreceptive to book 9, kind of the first half of it. But in the second half, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. But, or maybe it was the other way around, I can't remember. But I was just really, just kind of wishing for more. And it was great seeing Whiskey Jack again. And I love seeing, what's his name? We have Kalam Mecca. We have Crickben. He's amazing in this book as well. We have, in that group, Crickben. Oh, Perrin. We have Gannerus, who has just some of the best scenes in this book. I think Gessler and Stormy are my favorite of this book, because they're hanging out with Kachang Chamal and kind of helping that entire race kind of like support this kind of final push to grab the heart of the crippled god and kind of get it to this bearer, which will then kind of, everyone just rushes in and, tries to get to the crippled god. Like, I loved all of that, but I think Gessler and Stormy was my favorite conclusion of all of these storylines, because I was just crying so much throughout this book. And I really loved the scenes with Bent, the dog, because we have this moment where Gessler and Stormy are like, okay, we need to get to, the heart. We need to get the heart, we need to get in there and just get it. And we have the Shigal assassin, I'm trying to remember his name. Hell. The Shigal assassin, swoops in and, grabs it, thankfully. But everything with Stormy and Gessler was just amazing. I loved it, and I keep looking at my camera, so if you are wondering why I look that way, I'm making sure it's recording and I'm not muted and all that. But I just loved everything with that. I was just blown away by the conclusion of this book, especially overall. But I really wanted more from some characters. Mappo and Karium, I felt like they didn't do enough. Maybe I just haven't processed it yet or something. But I thought that they were kind of just at the edges of the story this entire series, and then Ikarian remembers, and then I can't even remember what happens after that, or... But Mappo is killed, and that was really sad. I was not happy about that. That was a moment where I cried. I was not okay when he died. Bent, I was not okay when that dog died. Stormy Gessler, obviously. This book was just full of death, and I really loved kind of the reveal of Fenner kind of coming into the world. And I wanted more from that, honestly, because he comes into the world and then he's, about to swing down his sword or something at everybody, just kill everyone. And we get a POV of Casa Orlong in Darujhistan, and he just, goes up to the Temple of Fenner and just stabs, the horn of Fenner. And I remember that horn being there, so I wasn't, unsatisfied from it, but I really felt like it was too easy. I don't know, and I wanted a lot more from Casa Orlong this book. I was really hoping that he would be part of the final battle. Aside from killing Fenner, I was really hoping he would actually be there with Ikariam. This is what was my head kind of theories going into this book. So I wanted, this, killing machine group of, Ikariam, of Casa Orlong, of, a couple of Kachane Chimal, all working together, just, devastating entire front or something like that. But we don't really get anything with Casa aside from that. And I know that the sequel novels, the Witness trilogy, or not trilogy anymore, but quadrilogy, is about Casa, and I'm kind of like, okay, his story's not done. But I really wanted more from him. I was just expecting more. And along that line, I really wanted more from the tableau, because we get Ublala Pung, who is, I think in the beginning of Dust of Dreams, he mentions that he's going to kind of rally all of the tableau together, which is what Casa was going to do originally, but then he tasked Ublala to do it, gave him his sword, said go, and he did that. He recruited them, but it was all off page, or just mentioned. I wanted, boots on the ground, all of the, tableau charging down and killing, Forku Cell. I was really wanting that. We didn't get that. I was a little disappointed by that. Maybe it was a little too much to ask for, because it is a little fan-fiction-y, I don't know. But I really wanted just more of Casa Orlong, fighting people. We didn't really get that, which was a little disappointing. But I did just, I was going out and about today, and I was listening to the 10 Very Big Books interview with Steven Erikson after they finished. And he basically said the same thing, is that he wanted to, this book could have easily have been, much longer, but he wanted to, keep it in one book or whatever. Or keep this volume, one book. But, yeah, I just wanted more. I'm not happy I'm done at all. I wish I could, Men in Black, memory wipe myself and start from the beginning and actually, pay attention and take notes and all that. Because this series, I think, could have been a lot more satisfying for me had I paid attention more. So, but, after Casa Orlong kills Fenner, his blood rains down, and we just get this amazing scene of all the Talani mass coming back into, mortal, or mortality. They get all the flesh back, the, eyes. They get the entire bodies back, and we get this really great scene towards the end in one of the final POVs of the epilogue, I believe, where we see the Talani mass, Onos Tulan, with his wife Hetan. I think that's how you say her name. And they're just making a life for themselves now, and I love it. And I was just so happy that Tool was able to survive this series. I did not think he would. I thought all of the Talani mass would be, sacrificed. at the end of the story, but they went, and I was quite happy about that. I mean, they were sort of sacrificed because they had to kill everyone and kind of had to, help with the battle, but I'm just happy Tool himself got out and his wife and his children. That's really satisfactory for me. I'm very happy that Steven did that. But obviously I'm going to do a much better video for this book later. I'm going to be doing I don't know if it's how long it will be yet, but it's going to be a pretty major big discussion with Philip Chase about this book, because there's a lot of thoughts I have, and I guess I need his help to formulate through them and kind of get his perspective as a Malazan veteran, and also a literature professor who can kind of help me to appreciate some of these parts of these books a lot better, or this book particularly. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Yed and Derrig parts as well. I want to mention that, although I thought the Hust sword was a little out of nowhere. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool kind of type of sword, but I wanted more information about that sword, because they scream and they make voices and stuff when you use them, and they cannot be damaged, it seems like, because Yedin just keeps going, just keeps killing people. And I really enjoyed that part too, of the shore and all of that, but I think my main attention was focused on the Crippled God and all of that, and that is one thing that I wish we could have gotten throughout the series more, is more POVs of the Crippled God, because from books 1 to 3, we don't really get anything with him, until book 3, obviously. Or I'll say books 1 to 2, we don't get him. Book 3, he is, introduced. He gets a really great storyline from book 3 to, like, I don't know, book 5, I would say, for me at least. And then book 6 and 7, he's really not involved anymore. I mean, he's involved quite a bit with Rulad at the end of book 7, but, like, he doesn't really do anything, the Crippled God, from books, like, 5 to 9. Or even 5 to 10, because he's not really in book 9, but... So, like, half the series, the main antagonist is not really on the page, which is fine, but I wanted more. I really wanted more with the antagonist, because there were points at the end of this book where I felt like I really don't think he's an antagonist anymore. I mean, obviously, with everything he does in the beginning of the series is terrible, with the Penny and Doman and, everything he's been just doing in the background. I think his character at the end of book 10, I feel like we're going to get, like, a redemption of somehow with the Crippled God. And we keep getting these, slashes of, jade up in the sky that are supposedly from the other planet or something that, was blown up by Sin or someone else. Sin or... God, who was it? Was it Korlat, they said? Oh, no, not Korlat. It was somebody. It was Sin or someone else who had blown up the moon. But it seems like that moon originally was not a moon, or... Gosh, I need to think this through. So they mentioned there's, like, multiple planets, kind of going around, the orbit, of the Malazan world. And they talk about how, like, in the Heboric POVs, and I think House of Chains? Maybe House of Chains. Where we get Heboric, like, going up into space and, like, seeing all the Jade people and all that. Like, I want more information about that. And I recall that all of that was explained. So maybe I just need to look it up again. But it seemed like all those Jade people were from a different planet. And it's just amazing to me that the series is so rooted in fantasy, but there's a lot of great, like, sci-fi, moments or aspects of it, because we have multiple planets, it seems like, is how the Warrens are able to be used, because Warrens allow you to travel very long distances, but there's many mentions that it's like weird or it's like different or the stars are different. And so I have to just think to myself, and please correct me if I'm wrong, any veteran watching this, or veteran readers watching this, like what were those jade stuff? And like what was the like what's happening around everything with the jade people? Because I didn't get that, 100%. Like I thought it was awesome when Hiboric went up into the sky or in space and saw all of that, and I thought it was one of the coolest, scenes in the series. But like at the end of this book, they're like coming down, they can see the slashes like in the sky. So it makes me think it's a physical thing, like it's like a big giant ice block but green. I don't know how to like think of that, and maybe it's just not even worth thinking about. But that's the kind of stuff that I wanted like more information and just more scenes about, because I just thought it needed more information for it to be like satisfying for me. But this is gonna be a pretty long, seems to be a long video, so I want to cut it off soon. But I don't know. I think my rating for this book is like a 9.5 out of 10 for sure, minimum. But I think all of these little things that I'm talking about that I just wish we got more of, and also, the characters I thought we could have gone more of, all of these aspects are weighing it down from a perfect 10 out of 10. I thought the ending was 10 out of 10 for the most part, but I think leading up to the ending, there were a lot of little things that I wanted done differently. But I think, yeah. And also, I'd like to mention Korobos, the Odotawa dragon, because I think that was one of the coolest parts of this book, was at the end when all the dragons are like die-bombing and just, using the talons to, cut him open and, try to kill him because, he's Odotawa, he's not going to have any magic affect him. And I just loved everything with that giant dragon. I wish we got more of it. I mean, this is just something I'm going to have to keep saying, is I wish we got more of it, And this book is very much the book that I think could have been split in half and expanded. I wish Steven had done so. Maybe I can ask him if I can somehow get him on the channel. But yeah, I just want more. I don't want to be done with the series, but my plan after this is to read Stone Wielder by Cam Esselmont to finish off that trilogy. Then I also want to, before getting into the Carcanis trilogy, which I have book 1 here that I got from McKay's, before I go into this book, though, I want to take a break and read one of Steven's non-Malazan reads, which is The Willful Child, which I also got from McKay's. But, yeah, this is supposed to be like a Star Trek type of story, so, I was sold. Steven Erikson, Star Trek. Yeah, it sounds like a great match to me. I love Star Trek, the original series, and the movies, and I haven't gone past that. I'm too lazy. Don't have enough time. But, I'm seeing cool names in here, sorry. But, yeah, I want to read those books next after October. I'm not going to do any Malazan this month. I'm just going to be doing my Spooktober reads. So the first book of that will be Revival by Stephen King, and I have it over there, so I can't hold it up. But, yeah, so that's my plan after this. I feel like enormous weights have lifted off my shoulder now that I have finished The Crippled God. And this is my favorite series of all time. I don't think it'll ever be nudged off of the top. So, maybe Walls of Light and Shadow, maybe. But, yeah. That is it for today. Thank you all so much for watching if you're still here. Let me know what you think about my opinions about all of this. Let me know what you think of, The Crippled God. And please help me understand those questions more that I had asked. This just was a lot. I feel like I'm just like my brain is just like, completely clear now, and my, shoulders are no longer being weighed down. I feel so good right now. So thank you all so much again, and please have a great rest of the day.